The topic of this session is object-oriented programming. All of you are familiar with the C programming. After learning C programming only, which is the basis, basically which is taught in all the courses, then one will move on to OOP-based languages. OOP is a new way of organizing and developing programs over structured programming. ಸಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಫಾಲೋಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ. If you have worked with some C++ programs or if you have seen Java programs or .NET programs, C# programs, you might have observed classes and some data members inside those classes, and the methods also are involved with those classes. And in the main class there is a creation of object. By making use of that object and the methods, one will make use of the data members which is present inside the class, even though it is sitting securely inside that particular class. This is the concept of object-oriented programming. C programs you observe ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ you have observed that it's a collection of or series of functions. Functions ಅಂದರೆ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? There is some user-defined word or some predefined keyword. ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ರೇರ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಿಲ್ಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಸಮ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ದಿಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ your third line of the C program, that is void main function. Followed by void main, you have so many series of functions like printf. After the variable declaration, you have so many series of functions. Printf, print the function. Scanf, scan the function. Again you write some formula, again you write printf, scanf. So you follow this kind of collection of functions or the procedures which does its task according to the function name. Printf means printing whatever the contents that is residing inside the function. Scanning means accepting the user input from the keyboard, whatever the user has provided while running the program. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್. ಬಟ್ ನೀವು C++ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀರ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಗೇನ್ user defined data members, user defined member names. ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ C++ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್, ಈ ಜಾವಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದೋಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ environment is called as object-oriented programming. The major objective of object-oriented approach is to eliminate that we have seen, eliminate the flaws or the mistakes or the problems that we have seen in procedure-oriented programming. Because in case of procedure-oriented programming, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾಗೆ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ರನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾಸ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನಾಲಜಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ದಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ which provides security for your data, and also you declare methods declare ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ which is used to make communications with the other methods which is outside the class or in another class, just in case of inheritance. ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಡೇಟಾ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್. Object-oriented programming treats data as a critical element in the program development and does not allow it to flow freely around the system. ಟೈಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಡೇಟಾ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಇಟ್ ಟೈಸ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೋರ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಲಿ ಟು ದಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ that operate on it and protects it from unintentional modification by other functions. ಯಾವುದೇ ಅದರ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸು ಏನು ಡೇಟಾ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. OOP allows us to decompose a problem into number of entities called objects and then build data in functions known as methods in Java. ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ you can divide into several objects or you can call it a class, several classes, series of classes, and ಆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಾಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಮತ್ತು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸು ನೀವು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಓನ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಇನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. The combination of data and methods make up an object. That is the concept of object-oriented programming. So it's a new way of organizing and developing programs over structured programming or procedure-oriented programming. Structured programming became very popular, and during 1980s it was the powerful tool that enabled programs to write moderately complex programs. ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಡೊಮೇನ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಡ್ programming methodology was popular in 1980s. As the programs grew larger, requirement ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ದು. ಸೊ the length of the coding grew bigger. Even the structured approach failed to show the desired results in terms of bug-free, easy to maintain and reusable programs. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗು ಫೇಲ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್, which attempts to eliminate some of the problems faced in conventional programming language. C programming is structured programming or procedure oriented programming methodology follow ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Java, C++, to some extent C++, C#, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ಸು it follows object oriented technology. Object-oriented paradigm is an approach that provides a way of modularizing programs by creating partitioned memory area for both data and functions. ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ a class consists of both data and function. Combination of data ಮತ್ತು functions or the methods ಇರುತ್ತೆ. For that ಅಲ್ಲಿ data members are nothing but it's like declaring variables. ಅಲ್ಲಿ int age ಅಂತ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, care name ಅಂತ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸು. as you have learnt in C++, ಈ data members, it occupies memory area along with the functions. Next definition is object-oriented programming is an approach that provides a way of modularizing programs by creating partitioned memory area for both data and functions that can be used as templates for creating copies of such modules on demand. It occupies computer memory that stores data and a set of operations that can access the data. Both data and functions occupy some space in the memory. ನೀವು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲರೇಷನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಿಂಗ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತಿರ್ತೀರ. ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್, for the definition of variable, you will write it occupies some memory area. Next, you have so many features of object-oriented programming like inheritance, polymorphism, message communication, data abstraction and encapsulation. But before that we will discuss in the next session. Before moving on to that, we will discuss some more concepts about object-oriented paradigm. Here emphasis, as we have already learned, emphasis is on data rather than procedures. Class consists of data and methods. ಇಲ್ಲಿ data secured ಆಗಿ ಕೂತಿದೆ, that is the concept of encapsulation. Importance is given to data rather than procedures. Programs are divided into what are known as objects. Object is equal to the combination of data plus methods. A class create ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ whatever the things that you input inside the class is nothing but data and methods. In the main class, you will create a small variable kind of thing by using a new operator which is called as an instance of that class. It acts as a reference for your class. It is actually called as an object. For example, you have created a class A. The class name is capital letter A and your instance operator can be small letter a. For calling the methods, you make use of that small letter a. Suppose the method name is method 1 and second method name is method 2. You make use of dot operator for calling the methods by making use of the instance name or given to the object or to the class A, that is A dot method 1 and A dot method 2. Data structures are designed such that they characterize the objects. Data structures are nothing but here data types that distinguish those objects. Methods that operate on the data of an object are tied together in the data structure. As I told you before, both the data and methods are residing inside the class. Method is the only component which can protect the data, and it is the only thing which can access it and then pass the copies of those data members, the values which is resided inside the data members can be accessed only by those methods, and copies of which can be sent to the main class. Here data is hidden, objects communicates with each other through methods, so that it is providing security for the data. I hope you have understood the concept of the object-oriented paradigm. Thank you all.